Alrighty class, now it's time for my journey, including my bad experience, so let's do this. Hi, my name is Austin, and about 2.5 months ago I was diagnosed with moderate to severe pan-ulcerative colitis. Big sad, I know, it's been challenging, I'm sure that you know the feeling. Anyways, I was unfortunately unresponsive to steroids at the hospital, so it was recommended that I start Remicade so they wouldn't have to take my colon. To which I said, okay, so it was actually far more emotional of a decision than that, but that's for another video entirely. So full disclosure, I failed Remicade, so I'm not currently on it. Surprise. But that wasn't the call until my third infusion. And because my condition was so critical, I was placed on the accelerated schedule. So week 0, week 1, week 3, week response to Remicade. So finito. So yeah, this drug is a golden ticket for a lot of people. Unfortunately, not a guided chocolate factory tour for me. Wait, is there a joke in there? So fun stuff first, let's talk about intravenous Benadryl. Holy tranquilizer dart, this stuff goes into your bloodstream and hits you like the Sandman's 2-ton SUV. It is crazy. You feel your whole body get tired all at once, your brain goes foggy, and your head all of a sudden just becomes like impossible to hold up. It is bizarre how this stuff affects your body. However, it is nice to kind of just like knock out while the whole thing is happening. Unless of course you have UC and you need to go. Then it's problematic, but that's coming still. Next thing is less fun, but relevant, and that is going to be getting the needle/catheter. Now, I'm not afraid of needles. You know, I never watch the process and I always kind of flinch when it happens, but that's more of like my routine than it is a fear of needles. However, my good veins in both arms, like my go-to tried and true lucky veins, have been so abused during my stays at the hospital that they are still bruised and kind of unusable. So they've had to find alternative veins that I don't use as often. And I don't know what it is, but for some reason, all the other veins in the bends of my arms are like right next to nerves, and they just get hit every single time. And if you've ever had an IV catheter rub against a vein on the inside of the bend of your arm for 2 hours, you will understand that you develop an aversion to that sensation pretty quickly. Plus, just in general, the bend of the arm is a pretty lame spot for the catheter. I'm always like super paranoid it's gonna like move around or bend too much, and so I kind of just end up doing the whole infusion with like one Superman arm out. And it's just lame because you can't like use it. So, all right, we're getting closer to my bad experience, but first some things that were true of both times I went. So for the record, I was in a flare like what seemed like forever, including both times that I went for infusions. And so 1, I was feeling pretty garbage, and 2, I was really paranoid about having an accident, which was making me anxious, which was making me have to feel like I had to go more, which is never a good cycle. I'm sure if you have IBD, you've experienced something like that. Luckily, I didn't have any like major incidences, but it was close a few times. Like I said, my first infusion experience was okay. They found a good vein. I had no allergic reactions, no immediate side effects like headache or whatever else might happen. My UC was annoying that day, but not disastrous. And I was passed out on Benadryl most of the time, so that was fine. I did get really cold that day though, so that was a downside. Make sure you've got blankets or something warm. Now, the second infusion 2 weeks later was pretty awful. Here was my first mistake. I had scheduled for 7:30 in the morning, and the mornings were historically the worst for my UC symptoms. And so I had woken up at 4:30 that morning to take my steroid in hopes that my system would be stabilized by the time the infusion started. That unfortunately was not the case. My second mistake is that I was not hydrated enough. I guess I didn't drink enough water the day before or that morning. And also I hadn't eaten anything, and so I went in on an empty stomach, which is a big no-no. So we arrive and things seem to be going all right, but then my stomach starts acting up a little bit, so I've got to go to the bathroom a few times, even before things get started at all. Anyways, they put the IV catheter in, and it is like, it's right against a nerve. I know it, I can feel it, and there's no way I'm gonna have them stick me again at this point because I'm stubborn, and I know that I can probably position it in a way that is gonna be fine. This was a huge mistake. So they've got things hooked up, they put the saline solution in, then they put the Benadryl in, and as they put the Benadryl in, the nerve just gets agitated, it just gets pressed against, my stomach just flips, and this is bad because the Benadryl hits me like a ton of bricks, and I know that if I don't get to the bathroom in like 30 seconds, that I'm basically gonna have an accident or throw up or something. So I barely managed to communicate my distress because of like the immediate head fog, and so I just kind of start getting up in a panicky way, and my mom has to like basically help carry me to the bathroom, and I barely make it to the toilet seat. I mean, truly, I felt like a zombie with like my limbs and head in like a flailing slow motion as I try to do anything. I'm fighting every urge to just not fall asleep and just collapse on the floor. I'm in the bathroom for like 5 minutes in a dazed panic mode, half asleep, half trying to figure out how I got to this point in my life. Luckily, the crazy tranquilizing effects don't last that long, so I was able to regain normal function and make it back into the infusion room. But overall, that was like a 2 thumbs down experience. But things kind of continued to get worse from there, which was fun. So headaches can be one of the side effects of getting a Remicade infusion, especially if you're not hydrated, which I certainly wasn't. And I start getting just like a splitting headache, like the worst headache I've had in my entire life. To the point probably where if someone would have offered me an ice pick to stick into my cranium to relieve the pressure, I would have asked the nurse for another hit of Benadryl, and I probably would have done it. Anyways, I was able to get a hold of another Tylenol, and I ate some crackers and drank some water. Unfortunately, it was a slow road to relief, to the point where like I was done with the infusion and I had to be taken out of the hospital in a wheelchair just because like I couldn't even stand up straight. The throbbing in my head was so much. About 45 minutes later though, things did chill out, and then I just drank a ton of fluids the rest of the day and kind of just chilled and was okay. So it wasn't any like lasting side effects, but the experience in the infusion center was not fun, folks. So moral of the story, stay hydrated and eat some food before your infusion. All right. Well, enough about me. Unless you want to know more about me, in which case you can see videos about my ulcerative colitis journey on my channel or by clicking on my UC playlist in the description down below. Now, if you have questions, concerns, or would like to share your personal experience / story with Remicade infusions or IBD in general, leave a comment, leave a like, perform a random act of kindness for a stranger, sacrifice a lamb to r/Wall Street bets. I don't know, life be wild, folks. And my name is Austin. This is Otter Space Productions. And if you have IBD, go team. We're gonna do it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get them. We're gonna get IBD. We're gonna take them down. And I'll see you next time.